Thanks for joining us once again. We focus today on a full channel check of both production in Germany as well as production that's going on in China that's servicing different parts of the globe in the process. I think this will be useful because we're basically a month away from the end of the third quarter, and we're starting to get a feel for how Tesla might do heading into the end of the quarter. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy the show, would like some better ideas on investing and trading, please join us on Patreon. So today's show is approximately 5 minutes of, well, what are all the numbers relative to production and what we're expecting from Tesla? And then we follow up on what the implications that might be on the stock. So I had an opportunity, and I was looking up the numbers that might be happening in Germany, and Tesla actually posted some new video on the inside of production at the German plant, and the robots in action are doing some excellent work. So this gives us opportunity to present with that video showing, to my left in a B-roll. So where we are right now is that if you look around Europe, and that is everything from England to all the Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, let's even jump into Poland, there is a backlog of somewhere in the 2 weeks, if it's a simple configuration, all the way up to perhaps 4 to 6 weeks. So this is actually very impressive, given that in the United States, as you saw from our show yesterday, there's plenty of inventory available, and you can kind of just walk in and buy pretty much whatever you want unless it's a specialty vehicle. So as a result, there's an interesting little process that seems to be going on in both Germany as well as in Shanghai, China. The situation is that Tesla has both factories running 24 hours a day, and in both cases, Elon is choosing to have people working between 50 and 60 hours a week rather than adding a third shift. It has been said that in Germany they will add a third shift. Obviously they need to hire more people, but in the interim they've got to pay overtime for that production. I'm pleasantly surprised by these numbers and the development on these numbers, because this actually means that Tesla has a high likelihood of at least meeting their expected or forecasted number for the quarter, even though the numbers in the US I'm anticipating going to be down based on the excess inventory they have and the fact that they had to shut down for a couple of weeks to let that inventory be sort of burned off. So wanted to throw out some general numbers for you to start to play with. Tesla is producing approximately 1 vehicle per minute. And so at that production rate, the official production rate on a let's say weekly basis for Tesla is about 5,000 vehicles in all of their plants. The issue though is that if you multiply 60 minutes times 1 vehicle a minute times, let's say we're going 20 to 22 hours a day, we start entering this realm of somewhere between, let's say, 1,200 and 1,500 vehicles a day. And in both factories, they're running Monday through Friday. So we're kind of ending up at multiplying 5 days times, let's say, 1,300 vehicles a day, which is above their forecasted 5,000 per day production number. But we then multiply that by 13 weeks of production. So the answer that's coming up for me is approximately 92,000 vehicles are being produced in both the China facility as well as the German facility. As you know, in Germany, they only produce the Model Y there. The Model 3s that are being sold in Europe are being produced in China. So China is also producing Model Ys, and they're sending vehicles all over Southeast Asia. That includes the Philippines, Taiwan, etc. They're also supplying vehicles, the right-hand drive vehicles, that actually go to England, and England's backlog, particularly on the new vehicle, is running in that 60 to 90 day realm. So I actually think this is really good news. A lot of demand. You're having to run, in essence, extra hours / extra shifts in order to get that done. That can't be maintained forever because you'll burn out your people at those hours on a weekly basis. But this is actually very exciting. So for the quarter, the forecast is approximately 400,000 vehicles being produced. If we had of approximately 100,000 in Germany and 100,000 coming out of China, that's 200,000 vehicles. Both Austin as well as Fremont are capable of producing similar numbers, but the actual forecasted number is 5,000 a week there, multiplying that by 13 weeks in the period. And so when we add it all up, our numbers are someplace in the 360 to 400,000 vehicles, and it's all dependent upon how many of those hours are being run heavily in both Germany as well as in Shanghai. I know your question. Your question is, if the U.S. has a bunch of vehicles sitting around and they've shut production down, shouldn't we just ship all those excess vehicles to Europe so that they could meet or exceed the number? And the answer is, great idea, but from what we can tell, there are two, in essence, there's a tariff and a tax, and the number is approximately 17% increase in price. Then you have to deal with the transportation costs of those vehicles. So it'll be interesting to see if Tesla chooses to go ahead and let the vehicles run at full bore in the United States and then try the shipping technique I just described. If they don't try to go that route, like I said, I think the number ends up being somewhere between, let's say, 20 and 30,000 vehicles below expectations. That's maybe, in that 10 to 13%, consistent with the lower numbers we saw from last quarter. So in general, I kind of think this is good news. If in fact we're running 24 hours a day in 2 plants, and those vehicles are able to get the 1 vehicle per minute, 200,000 vehicles is possible from those 2, even blowing past the 200,000, heading for 210, maybe even 220. But one does not know if they have to shut down for maintenance or other issues, which actually screws up the number of days being produced, and therefore the number of vehicles produced in that period. So I just want to say I'm cautiously optimistic. So if you add this to a successful rollout by January or June the 1st of FSD, first in Austin and then San Francisco and then other places, I think this could actually be a very strong quarter for Tesla, which is somewhat of a surprise, and therefore it could be a great quarter that pushes the stock up quite nicely with this information coming in from 2 different places. Again, it would be great to hear from your respective area how and what you're seeing in terms of numbers. Again, in the US, we're seeing excess inventory sitting around, but everywhere in Europe, China sales seem to be down, but because a lot of vehicles are being shipped by that facility to other countries, their numbers are solid, even if in-country sales is down. So I think all of this is good news, and we really look forward to a great quarter by Tesla, and we actually look forward to input as well. We'd love to have any comments or suggestions about this that you might have. Next, I wanted to review our health tips. Today's health tip I wanted to mention to you is avoid a magnesium deficit by using something called Celtic salt. And so I wanted to mention this to you because it's an excellent source of magnesium, and it also Whole Foods is a great place to get it. Obviously, you can get it on Amazon as well. They own Whole Foods. But that's my suggestion for today. Don't forget your 25 leg lifts a day and your at least 25-minute walk. And then the other issue is if you're above 55, 60, trying to do one or two sessions of weight training weekly will help maintain bone density. And don't forget, no more than once a week for fried foods was a recommendation of our kidney doctor. Once again, thank you for joining us for the show today. It looks like because of Europe and China, things are actually going very well right now for Tesla. And I would say that I'm hoping Elon considers maybe shipping some US models over there, because definitely if Europe needs Model S's or Plaids or something like that, there is inventory moving to Europe at a small scale. So we'll see in the numbers whether or not this is impactful. Once again, thank you for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, auf alle Hitrod, Hodahefes, Ni hao ma, Arrivederci. In Jamaica, we say enough respect, walk good. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.